showing her saying, I'm breastfeeding, come on over. She's completely flirtatious with him. He is flirtatious back, but they're talking about their spouses, and it's all in Blake.
The legal documents hit the desk with a thud that echoed through Hollywood, and the fallout was immediate. Blake Lively thought she had the narrative under control, but Justin Baldoni's legal team just flipped the script in the most public way possible. This was no longer just a disagreement over creative differences on a movie set. It was a full-blown war involving leaked text messages, secret footage, and allegations of a calculated character assassination. Blake was reportedly stunned as the very evidence she thought would protect her began to look like a roadmap of her own undoing. The silence from her camp was deafening as the bombshells started dropping one after another, leaving the public wondering if we ever really knew the real Lily Bloom.
So that she could then leak it to the Times, so she could start to rehabilitate her reputation, which got smeared because she turned out to be not a very nice person.
Legal mess.
It all started with a staggering $400 million lawsuit that turned this production into a high-stakes soap opera. This isn't just about a film anymore. It is about reputations, power moves, and a secret romance that reportedly crashed and burned behind the scenes. Baldoni isn't just defending himself. He is going after Lively and Ryan Reynolds for what his team calls an orchestrated effort to steal his movie and smear his name. The stakes are so high that industry insiders are calling this the next major courtroom drama that could reshape how stars interact on set. People are now questioning every move Blake made during the promotion, looking for cracks in the polished exterior she has maintained for years.
Baldoni sued Lively and Reynolds for $400 million.
One of the most damaging claims suggests that Blake allegedly worked with the New York Times to leak damaging information about Baldoni. The goal was simple: rehabilitate her reputation by making him the villain of the story. Despite being happily married with children, rumors began to fly that things were getting a bit too close between the two co-stars during filming. When the public began noticing the tension, a major lawsuit erupted, and it seems someone was trying very hard to act innocent while pulling strings behind the scenes. It is a sad turn of events for a pair that was meant to be a power duo, bringing a beloved book to life, only to end up in a Hollywood war zone where nobody is safe.
Into the new Amber Heard, and he is the new Johnny Depp. That's what's caught people's attention.
The situation has become so toxic that fans are starting to draw comparisons to the most infamous legal battles in recent history. Some are calling Blake the new Amber Heard and Justin the new Johnny Depp, a comparison that has sent shockwaves through her PR team. Blake's accusations of emotional harassment against Baldoni initially shook Hollywood to its core, but as leaked text footage and crew testimonies drop, the story is changing. People are asking if she was really a victim, or if this was a desperate attempt to cover up something even messier. The narrative of the mean girl or the bully is starting to stick, especially when looking at how she reportedly treated those with less power than her.
She seems like kind of a jerk. Wow, she's like kind of a bully. She's rather mean. And to people who are less powerful than she is, less well-known than she is, and so on. And then Brian Friedman and his lawyer in his legal complaint against the Times shows you the whole text exchange, which the Times had, we presume, in which they use a sarcasm emoji, and the woman saying, I did it, explicitly says, except I didn't do it.
The lawyer representing Brian Friedman, who is working with Baldoni, has dropped a massive bombshell regarding the text exchanges between the stars. These texts, which the New York Times reportedly had access to, show a very different dynamic than the one Blake described. In one instance, Blake claims she felt violated when she was breastfeeding in her trailer, but the full text exchange reveals a heavy use of sarcasm and emojis. She reportedly told Justin to come on over while she was breastfeeding, acting completely flirtatious in the messages. This context changes everything, suggesting that the harassment she alleged might have been a complete misinterpretation of a much more casual and mutual interaction.
This led Justin to eventually speak out, saying, this is all BS, that I didn't harass her in any way, shape, or form. She tried to steal my movie from her. I bent over backward to accommodate her. Her alleged claims of sexual harassment are complete BS. Here's what really happened. Released their actual texts, putting things like, he watched me breastfeed naked in my trailer in context when we saw text from her saying, I'm breastfeeding in my trailer.
Baldoni is fighting back harder than anyone expected, and his sources close to the production say Blake was acting differently around him. She was allegedly too invested, too interested, and a little too into her co-star during the filming process. It wasn't just Lily Bloom on the screen. It was Blake Lively living a chemistry that was so intense the crew started noticing it off camera. Justin has now come out and called the allegations complete BS, stating that he never harassed her in any way. In fact, he claims he bent over backward to accommodate her every whim, only for her to try and steal the movie away from him in the final hours of production.
He's not some evil harasser. He was subjugated to her, and Ryan Reynolds, and clearly afraid of both of them. This guy's been to a few too many how to be a feminist classes.
A recently leaked behind-the-scenes clip has totally reversed the narrative regarding Blake's claims of distress. The footage, filmed during a silent dance scene, was supposed to be a simple, non-intimate moment of lip-syncing for visual layers. However, the raw footage shows Blake making deep eye contact, laughing, and looking far too comfortable for someone who later claimed she felt emotionally unsafe. She is seen leaning in and engaging with Justin as if she were genuinely into him. Industry insiders who have watched the unedited footage say it clearly contradicts her claims of feeling subjugated or afraid. It looks more like a rom-com than a workplace nightmare.
They're acting like lovers.
And my nose is so big.
I was hoping that we could address this. It's not too late. Just gotta shut down. We gotta call an insurance month and just...
During this specific scene, which was filmed in March 2023, there was no scripted reason for romantic chemistry. The purpose was purely visual, yet Blake kept lingering and touching Justin more than necessary. Several crew members have confirmed that she wasn't just acting. She was acting like someone fully into her co-star. At one point, she even laughs and asks him if he got beard on her, showing a level of playful intimacy that doesn't align with her later accusations. One production source described her behavior as genuinely affectionate and even excessive, locking eyes with Justin between takes as if the cameras weren't even there.
She laughs and says, oh, did you get beard on me? She doesn't say, oh my God, you nuzzled me and said that I smell good. This is what she's done.
The legal battle has now expanded into a second lawsuit filed by Brian Friedman on behalf of Baldoni against Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and their PR team. The lawsuit alleges that the negative press Blake suffered last summer was not organic, as she claimed, but the result of internal PR meetings. They are accusing the power couple of manufacturing a victim narrative to protect their own brand while sacrificing Justin's career. This level of manipulation is unusual even for Hollywood, where PR wars are common. It suggests that Blake wanted total control over every scene, every daily, and even insisted on doing her own cut of the movie, which is unheard of for a lead actress.
Now in this lawsuit that he just filed again, this is a second lawsuit by Brian Friedman on behalf of Justin. This is against Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and their PR hack. And what they're alleging is that they had nothing to do with that negative round of press that Blake suffered last summer, that it was organic, but that they did have internal PR meetings about what they might have to do.
Fans are beginning to connect the dots in a way that suggests Blake's alleged feelings for Baldoni were not just rumors. If she was enjoying every moment of their on-set chemistry, then her sudden shift in behavior becomes even more suspicious. According to insiders, the vibe on set completely changed after March 2023. The once playful and lighthearted energy disappeared, and Blake suddenly became distant. The theory circulating online is that Baldoni did not reciprocate her feelings, and that is when things got strange. When the attention stopped, the narrative of harassment reportedly began, leading many to believe this entire legal mess is actually a case of retaliation.
Such a brat that she wanted to control every scene, wanted to see all the dailies, wanted to do her own cut and did her own cut of the movie. All this is very unusual for just an actress in the film, even if she's the lead, and that she's now tried to turn this whole thing into a PR victory for her.
One of the most bizarre allegations involved a claim that Justin's business partner showed Blake pornography on set. When the lawsuit produced the actual image, it was revealed to be a beautiful artistic photo of the partner's wife with their newborn baby in a bathtub. It was a non-pornographic, intimate family moment that Blake reportedly characterized as R-rated material to the Human Rights Office. This discrepancy has severely damaged her credibility in the eyes of many. If such a wholesome photo could be weaponized as harassment, what else in her story has been twisted to fit a specific agenda? This revelation was the bombshell that truly stunned her supporters.
Accused his producing partner of showing her pornography. Then they produced in his lawsuit against her a picture of the alleged pornography, and it was a beautiful, artistic, absolutely non-pornographic shot of his business partner and his wife with their newborn baby in a bathtub after a bathtub.
One crew member.
The lawsuits are now flying in both directions, with cross complaints being filed in the United States District Court in New York. Each side is claiming the other is being retaliatory, and the situation is getting messier by the day. Blake's decision to go to the California Human Rights Office before filing a lawsuit is being viewed by Baldoni's team as a tactical move to leak the story to the New York Times. They argue that she used the government agency as a shield to launch a media campaign against him. As these legal filings become public, the carefully crafted image of Blake Lively as the perfect, untouchable star is starting to crumble under the weight of these contradictions.
You tell me whether that's what that looks like to you. Well, so now, I said that they had written to the Human Rights Office in California. Let me correct that. It's to the United States District Court in the Southern District of New York, where she filed her lawsuit against him. There's cross lawsuits by each, saying this is all retaliatory.
The public narrative is splitting as people debate what the behind-the-scenes footage actually shows. Some argue it's just natural onset chemistry between two talented professionals, while others say it proves Blake was the one driving the energy. There is no clear agreement yet, and much of the evidence remains open to interpretation. However, the perception of reality is shifting. As the footage circulates on social media, fans are analyzing every blink and smile, trying to figure out where the acting ends and real life begins. The question of whether she was a victim or a participant in the chemistry is the central mystery that continues to haunt the production.
The only reason this whole thing got started, before she filed the lawsuit, she just went to the California Human Rights Office, is because she clearly cooperated with the New York Times to leak the whole thing. Indeed, that's, Brian argues, the reason she went and filed the complaint with the Human Rights Division.
Reports have even surfaced about Blake's past relationships and co-stars, including Penn Badgley and Ryan Reynolds, as fans look for patterns in her behavior. While there is no confirmed link between past situations and this current controversy, the speculation is rampant. Justin Baldoni has stayed relatively quiet, letting his legal representative share his side of the story through these high-stakes filings. The situation remains heavily debated online, with TikTok and Twitter becoming battlegrounds for fans of the original book. The focus has shifted entirely away from the story of Lily Bloom and onto the real-life drama that has eclipsed the film's message.
Allegations, just the way the Times reported them, seemed pretty bad. It was like, oh, he's showing her, one of the producers is showing her naked pictures of his wife. He's talking about, they walked in on her while she was breastfeeding, even though she'd said not to. But it turns out that on like any level of examination, a huge percentage of this seems to fall apart.
The lack of coordination protocols on set has also been called into question. Some crew members described a lively and engaged working environment, while others pointed to moments where the lack of an intimacy coordinator might have led to these misunderstandings. However, Blake herself reportedly stated at one point that she wanted the women on set to figure things out, and that she took a step back to let the intimacy develop naturally. This contradicts the idea that she felt unsafe or forced into uncomfortable situations. It seems she had a significant amount of power on set, which makes her claims of being a victim of a toxic environment harder for some to believe.
That they subjected poor Blake Lively to was by Justin's business partner, who is a producer of the film from Wayfair, that's the name of their company, who she has a birth scene in the movie, and he showed her a still shot from his wife's delivery of their child, which I've also seen. You can't see any R-rated parts at all. It's actually a really lovely artistic photo of a husband with his arms around his wife in a bathtub and the baby on top of the wife.
What was supposed to be a Hollywood dream project has turned into one of the industry's most chaotic legal battles. Fans of Colleen Hoover's book are not just upset over the casting choices anymore. They are watching the entire essence of the story get buried under scandal. The emotionally gripping narrative of the book is now a footnote to a messy fallout between two stars. The focus is no longer on the journey of the characters, but on a lawsuit that is threatening the film's entire existence. If the audience that was supposed to champion the movie refuses to engage with it, the financial consequences for the studio could be absolutely catastrophic.
Important to me that it was a woman. We brought on Lauren Shaw, and we all worked together to figure out, well, how can the intimacy of this and the violence kind of work together? How can we make sure everyone feels safe?
Colleen Hoover's die-hard fan base is now completely divided, with many declaring they won't support the film at all. On platforms where the book originally found viral success, the scandal has permanently tainted the project. Fans feel that the battlefield created by the co-stars has disrespected the source material and the survivors it was meant to represent. Blake's attempt to turn the situation into a PR victory seems to have backfired, as the public sees through the strategic leaks and calculated statements. Instead of a celebration of a best-selling story, the movie has become a case study in how to destroy a brand through internal conflict and legal warfare.
This is on set where I just let the women figure it out, and I took a step back and kind of jumped in more as an actor in those scenes than even as a director.
There are currently 3 possible outcomes for this mess, and none of them look good for the movie's future. The first is a private settlement where the entire scandal is buried behind strict non-disclosure agreements. Hollywood has a long history of sweeping these situations under the rug to protect investments. If Sony wants to save the film, they might force both parties to sign NDAs and walk away. This would mean Blake and Justin never have to face each other in court, but it also means the public's suspicion will never truly disappear. The questions about what really happened in that trailer and during that dance scene will linger forever.
She's had her shot against him, and she's severely damaged him with that New York Times piece and this complaint, which she managed to get leaked. Now she wants a complete gap.
The second possibility is a full-blown public trial that would expose every text, email, and raw piece of footage to the world. If neither Blake nor Justin backs down, this could become one of the biggest courtroom battles in Hollywood history. We would see testimonies from the entire crew, and the outcome could reshape how the industry views the power dynamics of its biggest stars. A public trial would be a disaster for Blake's carefully managed image, as it would likely reveal even more about the internal PR meetings and the alleged manipulation of the press. For Baldoni, it might be the only way to fully clear his name.
Victim there. That's absurd. And I can tell you that as somebody who's not a Hollywood actress, notwithstanding my very short stint in that cartoon Bertram. Okay, but
the third outcome is that both of their careers are permanently impacted, regardless of who wins in court. Hollywood can be ruthless when it comes to public image, and being associated with such a toxic production can be a career killer. Right now, the outcome is still uncertain, and the story continues to unfold with new leaks every week. Whether it was a case of unrequited feelings, a power struggle over creative control, or genuine harassment, the truth is being fought over in a way that leaves no winners. The project that was meant to be a career milestone for everyone involved has instead become a heavy weight around their necks.
tell me whether your husband wants a man calling you at 2 a.m. and whether there was something between these two that got Ryan Reynolds back up, that made him a little concerned, that had her running to the harassment. I swear it was harassment place.
The involvement of Ryan Reynolds has also added another layer of complexity to the situation. Rumors suggest that Reynolds became concerned about the intensity between Blake and Justin, which might have led to the sudden shift in the narrative. Some believe Blake ran to the harassment claim as a way to explain the chemistry to her husband after things went too far. Baldoni's team has portrayed him as a man who was essentially bullied on his own set, begging his star to treat him well and let him participate in the movie he was directing. It paints a picture of a power couple using their influence to crush a smaller director.
Guy here is an emasculated man who is probably not a harasser, but is a bootlicker, begging for his star to treat him well and let him participate in his own movie, which doesn't exactly make Justin look.
As more people analyze the texts in the bathtub photo, the bombshell evidence from Baldoni's lawyer seems to be the turning point in public opinion. Blake's stunned reaction to these revelations being made public suggests that she didn't expect him to fight back with such specific evidence. The narrative of the innocent victim is hard to maintain when there are texts showing the opposite behavior. Every time a new piece of information drops, it seems to favor Baldoni's side of the story, leaving Blake and her team scrambling to find a new angle. The chess match between their legal teams is far from over, but the board has definitely shifted.
And now people are saying this whole thing is way more personal than professional rumors are flying that Blake had feelings for Baldoni got rejected, and when things didn't go her way, she flipped the script literally.
Ultimately, the legacy of this film will be defined by the scandal rather than the story it told. What happens next will shape how we view these actors for years to come. If Blake cannot provide a convincing rebuttal to the leaked footage and the text messages, her status as one of Hollywood's sweethearts may be gone for good. Meanwhile, Baldoni is fighting for his professional life, trying to prove that he is not the villain he was portrayed to be. In the end, the biggest bombshell isn't just a single document or a video. It's the realization that in Hollywood, the most dramatic scenes often happen when the cameras aren't even supposed to be rolling.